Hi, and welcome to What's the Worst That Could Happen. I'm your host, Abby Whitaker, and today I'm chatting to the lovely Lauren Peters, and I'm going to get her to introduce herself to you and all the good things, and we'll go from there.
Amazing. Thank you for having me. I feel very honoured. I am a mum of three, a local mum on the Sunshine Coast, and business owner. I've been in the online space and with network marketing for nearly 10 years, which is just wild. It's flown by so quickly. I also help my husband with his pool building business, a very traditional construction business, but yeah, I guess a jack of all trades.
Awesome. I love it. So good. So can you tell us a little bit more about your business and how it started? You said you've been in business for 10 years.
Yeah. So when I was 23, I was actually quite a young mum, like was planned. I wanted to be a mum so bad. But I guess when I had my daughter and had to go back to work financially, we had a mortgage and, cost of living and everything, just kind of like reality hit. And I was like, this ain't it. Like, putting my daughter into daycare and working a 9 to 5 just wasn't actually what I grew up envisioning my life to be like. And I guess I had, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and I wanted that freedom and, that wasn't my reality. So when I was working, I was kind of thinking like, what else can I do? Because just sitting in a traditional 9 to 5 and trading my time for money like isn't ever really going to give me the life that I want. I kind of felt even if I worked harder, I would get more responsibilities and, it's just like not the way. So I was looking at different ways to bring in more income, and it was just a timing thing. A girl that I had met one time had started her Arbonne business, and I'd heard of Arbonne before. That's a company I'm aligned with, but I thought it was like party plan. I basically just thought you had to do parties and, you just stay-at-home mums did it. And I guess when she started, she really inspired me to kind of look at the business in a different way. She was building her business. Back then it was pretty much all on Facebook. Instagram wasn't even really a thing. And I just thought, hey, like if she can do it, why not me? Like she's young and she was speaking so much vision over her life for really what she wanted to create. And she was talking about having time freedom and traveling and all of these things, I guess, that I wanted. And so I reached out and I was just like, what is this Arbonne thing? I thought it was called Arbonne. And I kind of just had a look at the information. And although I definitely had my concerns around the industry and around, I guess, preconceived ideas of what I thought that kind of business model was, I also could see so many people creating success with the business. And the evidence was there. And I just thought, like, I'm crazy not to give this a go. And so, I jumped all in and here we are.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so you got on it, it feels like you got on it pretty early.
Yeah.
Which is obviously like beneficial in any industry that you kind of like go into business, like if you're getting in before everyone else.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of grow that business?
Yeah.
Especially without like things like the more powerful, like the social media, like Instagram and stuff that we have now.
Yeah, I feel like, just touching on like getting in early, like there is this idea that you have to get in early to be successful, but it's crazy. Like in my 10 years, I've seen people join the business last year and create a business that I've got in 12 months. So it definitely doesn't mean that you've missed the boat if you've got in late to an industry. And in a way, you kind of have a lot more evidence and you have a lot more systems once people have kind of paved that way for you as well. But we were very young for that industry back then. And so everyone would look at us and be like, what are you doing? And like, how are you doing this? And we really didn't know what we were doing. We were very green. We were kind of just like figuring it out as we were going. And we actually didn't really have much of a mentor at the time. And in a way, I think that was really good because it pushed us out to just figure it out and be independent leaders from the beginning of our business and not really wait for someone else to tell us what to do or how to do it. Yeah, we kind of just evolved. And I guess the industry itself has changed so much in the last 10 years. We've seen social media rise and all that's brought with it, good and bad. And so it's been something that has been forever changing. I feel like I figure something out and I'm like, okay, we're doing something different now. But it's been fun. It's keeping me very busy.
Awesome. So you're still super busy with it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good. Like I get to choose when I work. So if I've got the capacity, like, I'm going to do the work. But at the same time, there's been times in my life where I've been able to step back, and I've had 2 more children since then. So it's really allowed me time to be present as a mum and, do the school drop off and the pick up and all of those things. So yeah, I can really be as busy as I want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've obviously built it up in such a way that it gives you that freedom. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to say about that because, there's a lot of preconceived ideas and stereotypes around companies like Arbonne.
Yeah.
Can you talk on that a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. I get it because that was me. Like, I was very concerned about, I didn't want to be pushy. I didn't want to be salesy. I really didn't even want to do events like parties and things. I was very nervous. I kind of chose to really do it in a different way, but I can understand how people do have that idea. They've either had a bad experience with someone in the space, or they've heard of someone who's done it and failed. And so there's a lot of misconceived ideas around network marketing. But I think for me, like, how I chose to build my business and also train my team, because I have quite a large team now that I coach, has always been around sustainability and really being authentic. And I always say to people, like, if you're afraid of being pushy, you're not going to be pushy, and I'm not going to coach you to ever do that. And so we want to build a sustainable business where people actually refer you on and say, hey, my experience with her was great, not run the other way. She won't leave me alone. So yeah, I'm really proud in how I build my business and how I share the business opportunity with people. And I just sit back and, like, I look for people that want to change their life or want to change their health, and I'm an option there if they want to do that. So, there is a lot of misconceptions around Arbonne or network marketing being a pyramid scheme. And I really like to educate people on that. Pyramid schemes are illegal, and pyramid schemes are where you get paid on recruitment. So the whole business model is around, like, you pay this much to sign up, and then you have to go, recruit a certain amount of people to sign up. And Arbonne's not that way at all. So we get paid based on product sales through our business, just like anything, really.
I was going to say, just like any other business, right?
Yeah. If anyone's kind of, let's say, in the online space and they're doing affiliate marketing, or they're partnering with a brand, it's very similar. If I was, and I've had affiliations with brands where I'll get a discount code. If people use that discount code, I get paid a commission. Yeah. But the difference with that and network marketing is you're building your own business or your own umbrella under that business. With network marketing, you're building an asset for yourself that can be willable or that can continue to grow. While if you were just an affiliate, you kind of capped it. You're building someone else's business. You don't have as much control over that. It's really just, it is another source of income, and I'm all for that. But yeah.
Okay, so how exactly, because I actually don't know the answer to this, how exactly do you build your business with Arbonne?
Yeah. So there's 2 arms, I guess, to the business. One is sharing product, and the other one is sharing the business opportunity. I do both, and I do encourage people in my team to have a balanced business. I think it's really important, one, to use the product and to love the product. And if you don't, don't do it. You know what I mean? So I really encourage people, when they do come into my business, to purchase products, to try, to use, to experience, to get their own results with. And that really does help them then share it with other people. So, for example, we have a healthy living program with products attached to it. We have, a gut health drink, like a greens powder and stuff. And so people try that, they have their own experience and their own results, and then they can share that. So if someone was to purchase that from my link, which, the beautiful thing about Instagram now is I can attract people to my Instagram. They purchase from the link, they may have seen something, I get paid a commission. So then if they love it, they reorder it, right? Just like we do with anything. If we find a product we love, and I get paid again and again and again on those sales. With the team building side of things, I share the business opportunity with people who want to create what I've created and show them how I've done that. And in return, when they are successful, I earn an override on what they do. So I guess my main focus now, and really what I love about the business, is that I get to work with women and get to coach them and help them create that for themselves. And in turn, my business grows. So I want to see them win, I love the business model.
Okay, so with the side of it where you're building a team, that's the side of it that kind of sustains you through times when you're not working as much. I guess
Yep.
people would still, if they're using the product and they're loving the product, they'd still be on like a subscription, which is also once you've kind of like, once they've got it and they love it, they're going to hopefully keep loving it.
Yeah. So, I guess building your client base is creating a residual income, and building that team, the team that obviously purchase and love the products themselves, but have their own client bases. And so collectively together, you create this residual income stream. Arbonne, we do have what's called a replenish me program, which is, it's like an auto ship essentially, but it's optional. So people don't have to purchase. People don't have to sign up and purchase every month or have a minimum spend or anything like that. But for those people who feel they're using them every month or every 3 months, for example, my skincare clients will go on a 3 or 4 month auto ship because they're using it and they need it again. So it just takes that away. They don't have to reorder and have that peace of mind. And so it's done automatically. I don't stock the products. I don't ship the products. I don't do anything. That, thank God, because I hate going to the post office. But like Arbonne does that all for me, which just means I have more time to focus on what I need to do.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so just to get really clear,
Yeah.
with your team, so when you get people on your team, how does that like create a residual income for you?
Yeah.
Or
So
income for you at all?
yeah. So I earn overrides on my team sales. So collectively, the volume. In saying that, I can't just, stop working tomorrow and expect to get paid forever and ever. So it is still effort-based, and there are requirements within my own personal business to achieve in order to earn those overrides. And I think that's a really important thing to mention, because it's not just signing people up and sitting back and going on holiday, like it is a lot of my time and energy is spent mentoring and coaching and supporting women through that journey and really, seeing them flourish. And yes, it's about building an Arbonne business, but to me, it's more about that journey for them personally and how much they can overcome themselves, because a lot of what holds them back is personal things. It's limiting beliefs, it's mindset, it's all those things. So my passion really is that coaching and mentoring side of it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's such an important thing to mention. I think on one of my episodes I had before, we were speaking about multi-level marketing businesses, and the lady who I was chatting to, she used to be in one specific business for like 10 years as well.
Yeah.
And she was like, what people don't understand is like, it's a business.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a fake business. Like, it's a business and it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
It's not just easy, get rich fast kind of thing, which I feel like sometimes people think it is.
Yeah. And to be fair, like some people in the industry portray it that way too. And I think that's where there can be misconceptions of people have bad experiences where it's false. I think we need to be really real in the fact that anything worthwhile takes effort and it takes consistency. And just like going to the gym, you can't sign up to a gym and expect to have your dream body by signing up. Like you need to show up every day and you need to eat good food and you need to do all the things. And so I'm really honest with my team as well about what it takes. And I guess like I let them know, like, I will match your effort, but equally I'm not going to drag you along because it is your business, at the end of the day. Like, you came to me, you told me what you wanted to create, and I'm here to help you and support you do that. And so I show people how to do that, but at the same time, like, a lot of people aren't willing to do what it takes. And that's okay as well, like I think a lot of my business is consultants who have signed up, still love the product, but don't build business. And that's fine. There's a space for them. And I think that's where a lot of people think, oh, it doesn't work, because they know someone who's done it. It's like most of the time that person, it may not have been a timing thing for them, the right time in their life, or they may not have been willing to get uncomfortable and do what it takes.
Yeah, and I think like it's like that with any business.
Yeah.
Like I know people who have started different types of businesses and it hasn't worked out for them.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that, I'm going to like tell everyone not to start a business if they want to,
Well, you look at statistics of small businesses over 10 years, I think it's like 5% or something over 10 years that survive. Most people don't have, the mindset or don't have the consistency or the grit to withstand that, because it's hard and things in life, like life happens, you know, and you have to be willing to kind of push through all of those challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we talk about people, so I'm sure that you've had, like you said, people on your team who maybe it hasn't worked out for them and people who it really has. Like what are those, what's the difference?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a lot of things. I think it can be as simple as having limiting beliefs and them feeling not worthy of what they want, you know. You have to believe that you are capable of creating that for yourself, or that you are capable of becoming the person that you need to be in order to create that business, because you do have to really go on a journey. You can't, I always say to my team, your business won't outgrow you. And I think you have to be willing to get uncomfortable and to grow, to learn, to be coachable, to show up, you know, to ask for help, to be consistent, all of these things in order to create that. And I think some people, you know, it's, you know, sometimes it doesn't align with people, and that's okay too. I think you've got to want it. You've got to want it, just like anything.
Amazing. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've kind of had to go through with your business? And it can be on a business level, or it can be on a personal level.
Yeah. I feel like for me on a business level, I haven't had that many huge challenges. And I think when I reflect back, I feel like the network marketing space creates such a community and so much support for you, which I really love. I guess compare that to traditional business where you probably often feel alone, like you don't really have a roadmap or that support system. You know, you're kind of just doing it on your own. And so I've always felt so supported and guided by the people around me and the people that introduced me to the business. I'm like best friends with them. And that's awesome. Something that I guess I didn't anticipate, the friendships and the growth and the support. Personally, I've had a lot of challenges, and I think that's probably been, you know, a huge reason is why I've had, you know, ups and downs in my business. In saying that, after my biggest life challenge ever, my business skyrocketed, like go figure. I feel like it just sent me into this, like I was just like laser focused to just change my life. This was 2019, I was pregnant with my third son, and my partner at the time cheated on me. And so that was really tough. I think financially, I was supporting our whole family. He'd quit his job and was, you know, kind of like a stay-at-home dad to support me while I was working and raising children. I had Mackenzie was starting prep, and Bodhi, my middle son, was 1, and was heavily pregnant. So that was really challenging for me in the sense of like, I felt I was not okay, but I felt like, I really had to step back from my business at that point for a little bit, just because I was like, I can't even get on the phone and talk to anyone. Like, I'm not well. But I'm grateful for that. It allowed me time to grieve. And like, because I had consistently worked my business and taught my team and built that client base, it did allow me time to grieve, to heal, to go through, to have a baby, all the things. Following on from that, like my business took a big dip. So I think at that point, prior to everything happening, we're doing about 100,000 a month in sales. And then after Finn, I think we dropped down to about 40,000 a month in sales, which is still for a lot of people great, but a single mum, solo providing, you know, it was tough. And so I really had to sit and just go like, what am I going to do? Like, is this my story? Is this how it's going to end? Or am I going to get on with it? And I just thought, you know what, like I want my kids to look back and be like, my mum did that, you know, despite everything stacked against her, like she came out on top. And so I got to work, like I really just like redid my vision for, I think my whole world crumbled, right? Like I had this idea of what everything was going to look like. And so I really had to just think like, what is the new vision for me and my kids, and what do I want to create? And I got stuck into it. And I think in about 6 months of consistent work, my business went from 40,000 a month in sales to 230 a month in sales over that 6-month period, and completely changed my life. I promoted to the top of the company. I was flown to Maui. I was on trips. I was just like, it was my saving grace at that point in time. And I think I look back, I'm like, I probably was just avoiding dealing with the trauma. But also I'm just so grateful. Like the Arbonne community really did like lift me up and just support me so much through like such a dark time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there can be a lot can be said for that, because I think as a business owner myself, like I don't think that really I could have that sort of amount of like downtime and then kind of come back from it in that way. And I think even from what I understand, like going into business or starting a business with Arbonne or multi-level marketing company seems like it's got less risk, which I think is also a great entry point for people, because it means that you can have less when you start, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to have this $500,000 fit out, or you can kind of like start and build your way up, and it's really to do with consistency and showing up and being authentic and just like putting everything into it.
Well, you don't have overheads really. It's a $99 startup fee, and obviously then you just grab product that you want to personally use, and often people are already buying these things like their skincare, their greens powders, protein, whatever. We're using this on a daily basis. So you're just redirecting your spendings into a brand and products that you can trust, that are clean and safe for you. And so you spent $99. I mean, that's less than a bad night out, right? Like it's not bad. You don't have to pay staff. You don't have to, even host a website or pay someone to do anything, so Instagram is free. We can just show up and start sharing what we love. And I love that. I don't think I would have started if I needed a degree or like needed to know what I was doing or had to sign a lease and all these things that come with the traditional business. And I probably didn't fully understand like how good it was until Jay and I recently invested in traditional business. And I was like, wow, like the amount that we had to outlay. And we haven't even opened that business yet. Crazy.
And I think it's also like the skills required, or like as a business owner, like you sort of have to take yourself a little bit away from your passion, because you have to like learn how to DIY a website, how to do this, how to do that. But it's like it kind of takes away a lot of those elements by the sounds of it, which makes it a lot more achievable for people to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people have great business ideas, and it comes to the crunch of it, like doing the hard things, and it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And they can sort of just get overwhelmed and lost because they had this business idea based around a passion that they have.
Yeah.
But they end up doing everything except for that passion that they have.
Yeah. I like to say it's a business in a box, network marketing, and it doesn't even have to be the be all end all for you, and I think you had a podcast guest recently that's moved on to do something else, and I think that happens so much. Either they move on, they grow, or they find a passion through that journey, that growth, or they continue doing network marketing, but they have that time, the capacity and the financial choices to be able to then take something else on as well. So I always say to people, like, none of us grew up wanting to be an Arbonne consultant in school, right? Like it's not what happens, but we did grow up with a dream to have a life, and what is that for you? And I think, this business is so much about just allowing women and men, but like women mainly I work with, to dream again, to be like, what do you actually want? Because like it is possible. Like there's evidence there for you to create that for yourself if you're willing to do the work, And so I always say to people too, like, don't make your why your excuse. And I love this because, for example, my why was to create time back in my life, and I easily could have then used that as an excuse early on in my business, being a busy mom, working full time, having an 18-month-old daughter and all the things going on. I was so afraid of adding something else to my plate, but I knew there was a sacrifice I had to make in order to create that time back. And I think it was 2.5 years into my business, I was able to walk away from my full-time job, and I was like, thank goodness, I didn't use my why as an excuse back then.
Yeah, I love that, because it's kind of contradictory, but it's like also not. Like it's kind of like a short-term sacrifice of time, but you're like looking at the bigger picture and like what's sustainable long-term and where that's going to take you.
Yeah. This, it applies to anything really, not just network marketing. Like any business, you've got to have a really solid vision for what you're wanting to create, but also realize it's probably not going to happen when you want it to.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned that you and your current husband, fiance.
I think I said husband. I'm not sure.
You did say husband.
Jumping the gun.
So you and him have recently invested into a business.
Yes, we won't be opening that business. I can't actually talk about it from a legal standpoint of view, but big lessons, expensive lessons. Yeah.
Not $99.
Yeah, no, not $99, but it's all good. He's actually had a redirection, which is kind of a blessing. I think everything happens for a reason, as hard as or costly as it may be. He's always been a builder. He's had his builder's license for ages, but he's recently kind of stepped into the pool building space, and he's absolutely killing it. So it's awesome to see him flourish and like follow his passion as well, and be a cheerleader for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyone needs a pool.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out. He's actually getting so busy. It's wild. Yeah.
It's like pool season.
Yeah, very true.
Awesome. Okay, so what's like next for you?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think about this often, and I often think like, what would I do if all of my income was taken away? Like if I wasn't earning anything, or I wasn't earning the trips and traveling, and hand on heart can say like, I'm not sure if I would ever leave the Arbonne community. I genuinely get so much from it. Like I really do love working with women and the community that we have, and the people that the business attracts. Like I do feel like it's a caliber of person to really make it in the business. They're wanting better for themselves. They're entrepreneurial, they're healthy, they're all the things. I love being around that. But yeah, who knows? I'm definitely stepping up more in Jay's business. He needs the admin support. So I'm kind of wearing a lot of hats at the moment, but we've been talking lots of business ideas. We'll see what's next.
See what happens.
Yeah.
And with Arbonne, obviously it is like, it's a skincare product.
Yeah,
but it's
nutrition.
Also, and I was going to say, how have you found like that journey in terms of being aligned with that product?
Yeah.
For your health?
Yeah. When I first looked into the business, funny, I'd never tried the product, but I just started. I was like, I'm sure it will be good. But my mum had used it for years. And so I kind of had that, like, mum was always raving about it, saying, you've got to try this skincare. She really did, she loved the product. And so I kind of knew I was going to love it. And I also read up a lot on the brand and ingredient philosophy that Arbonne has. And I think that's what really sold me, because it wasn't just a network marketing company. It really was a company, with high ethical, moral standards for their products and the community and their even down to their employees. And so that's cool for me. So recently in 2020, Arbonne actually became B Corp certified. Have you heard of B Corp? Cool. So B Corp, it's fairly new, but it's a certification. It's growing quite quickly. I think there's like maybe, I'm going to say 8,000 companies globally now that are B Corp certified. It's very, very hard to be B Corp certified. You go through quite strict testing and like you have to provide a lot of evidence. But basically you have to comply by 5 different pillars, and they come down to like environmental welfare, sustainability. Like they look at all aspects of a business. And it's really cool. So we became B Corp certified, which basically just means like Arbonne have made a very, very high commitment to the people and the planet, and to make sure that we're doing everything we can to reduce our waste and to look at all aspects of business and not just profit, And I like that. I think that there's so much heart and mission there behind Arbonne and what it stands for. So we're vegan certified. We've always been from the beginning. The whole business was, we've been around for 45 years, but our founder from the beginning said, like, I want to create a clean product for women with a business opportunity attached to it. And he could see such an opportunity 45 years ago for there to be a cleaner product. He was actually in the skincare industry at the time. And so many brands, and they still do, which is wild, were using animal byproducts as fillers in their products and all the crap that still gets put in our products today, and he was not okay with it. And so I think that's so cool. From the beginning, the business has been a clean product, and we're always looking at removing different products. If there's new research that comes out, like ingredients will be removed. So we actually ban independently over 2,000 ingredients from our products. So we're even stricter than the European standards for skincare and cosmetics, which for me aligns really well. I've always been very conscious of that. My mum had breast cancer prior to starting the business. And when I had my daughter, Mackenzie, I went on a rampage throwing everything out as we do. We want to make sure we're putting the best on our kids' skins. And so I'm all about that. Our whole home is Arbonized. I don't use any toxins or limited toxins. I really try and focus on what I'm putting in my kids' bodies and on their bodies as well. So for me, I love that because I know I really am making an impact in people's homes, even if it's just giving them a cleaner alternative to some skincare or some baby care products or something that they're using. So from a product side, I really did align a lot with that. In saying that, I was not the picture of health 10 years ago. I had limited knowledge around how to look after myself and really what was good and how to nourish myself. So I've come a long way, but I've learned so much through the journey. I think because of Arbonne, I really did go on a health journey. We have a 30 days to healthy living program, which coaches people through how to eliminate toxic, acidic and inflammatory foods. And that's taught me so much, just being able to cut out seed oils and processed foods and gluten and see how my body reacts and be able to then educate people and for them to do that and create a healthy lifestyle rather than a fad diet. It's more about if I can educate you on why we're going to cut down on that, hopefully they can go away after the 30 days and go, I'm going to make better decisions because I know better now because I feel better. So that's been massive for me too.
It's actually really nice hearing you talk about it because you can just tell that you're so genuinely passionate about it. It's not just a business. It's not just making money. It's a product that you are really, truly passionate about.
Oh, 100%. And I think you have to be. If you don't love your product, I don't think that you can get to the top of the company without truly believing in what you're sharing with people. But yeah, my health and wellness is probably my number one passion. I really do love it so much. And I'm at the point now where it's habitual for me. If I don't even want to eat bad anymore because I know how good I feel and I know how good it is to my body, and genuinely just want to nourish myself as much as possible and inspire others to make better choices for themselves too.
Amazing. I love that. So what would be some tips that you would give somebody who maybe wants to, it doesn't necessarily have to be a multi-level marketing business. It doesn't have to be want to start in Arbonne, but it can be.
Yeah.
What were some tips, maybe say 3 tips that you would give somebody who wanted to start in business?
Start a business. I think figure out why first. Why are you wanting to start a business? What is the goal? Yeah. And then find something that aligns with that. What is your definition of success? I think often we feel we have to want it because other people do, or, but actually just sit with if you could have anything, if you could wake up and live the day however you wanted, what would that day look like? What would a perfect day look like? And then how can you create that? I think there are so many options out there now, to be able to create the life that you want without going to a 9-to-5. I think that, I do encourage you to step out of your comfort zone.
I'm gonna cut in there.
Yeah.
I think this is a great point. Figuring out your why.
Yeah.
Beyond because I want to make money.
Yeah.
It's what's the actual core driving thing inside you that is going to keep you going even on the hard days.
Yeah. I always ask my team, I always let them know there's usually 6 layers that you kind of need to dig down if you're asking yourself a question. So if I say to them, okay, what is it that you want? What are the goals? And they might say, okay, I want to make, $20,000 a month. I'm like, cool, great goal. Why? And then they sit with it. They're like, oh, I want to bring my partner home. I don't want my partner to go to work anymore. I'm like, okay, cool. Why? And then they might say, I want them to be able to spend time with the kids. Okay, why? Like, and actually just like getting down to the crux of what it is. I think often we just say things. Is that really going to motivate you enough to get up when you're tired, to work, to do an extra thing at the end of the night when you don't want to? Like, because that's the effort that's required. So yeah, figuring that out. And then I think like really focusing on who you need to become in order to create that life. I think people focus so much on the goal and look past that personal growth that they need to do to get there. So, you know, let's say you want to create an income of $20,000 a month. Like, look at those people who are earning that, and what are they doing? What are their habits? Like, how can you apply those things to your life? Like, what books are they reading? How are they talking about other people? Like, what things are they showing up to? Because, you know, that I honestly believe, like, if really embodying that person first, the results will come. If you focus too much on the results but not being the person, like, you're never going to get there.
That's a really, really good tip. What's your why?
My why?
After the 6 layers.
Yeah. I think my core value is freedom and growth. Like, they're my two main values for me. And so I always want to continually be growing and like essentially have freedom, you know, to do what I want. And my family is obviously a huge why for me, like being able to give them everything that they need and be there and be present and, not have to worry, like just be able to make choices. And I'm not there yet. Like, there's so much to go. But yeah, like, life's too short. My biggest fear is getting to the end of my life and like meeting the person that I could have been and just being like, having regret. Be like, why didn't you just go for it? Like, literally, like we're little humans on this massive flying rock in the universe. Like, let's go. Like, who cares?
I think it's actually really interesting. There's just been a trend that's come out last night and today. You might have seen it actually and posted it. It's like, I went for a coffee with my younger self.
Yes, everyone's doing this.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of like that in a way when you think about, like, you know, they talk about like being on your deathbed and like what were the things that were really mattered that you did.
Yeah.
I think about this so much. I'm like, man, if I had the confidence like I had now when I was 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Watch out.
Would have like taken over the world.
I know.
But still can.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, or even at school, like I used to get bullied a little bit and I used to try like be like the other kids or whatever, because it's like you want to fit in.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, if only I knew that my biggest superpower was not fitting in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So crazy. Yeah. I see it all the time too. I mean, women come to me and they want to change their life, and I can see something happen and they start to doubt themselves and they start to step back and go in their shell, and I just want to like grab them and be like, you can do it. Like, come on. Like, on the other side of this is everything that you've wanted. Like, it just takes a little bit. You've got to push. But I think, you know, we are best, what's the saying? Like, we are, I don't know the word, but it's like, we're best poised to serve the person we once was, something like that. But basically, I always think about it as like, who was my younger self and how can I serve her? Because I've gone through so much, I've learned so much, I have so much to give my younger self. And there's people out there that are at that point in their life where they just need to hear that story, or they just need that little bit of belief. And yeah, I think we all can make such an impact by just sharing our journey and really like stepping into our power just a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also, just rewind it right back to the start of the interview, you brought up a really great point, which like, yeah, I got into the industry early, but like anyone can do it. And I think that that's also like a really potent tip or piece of knowledge, because I think that often people are looking at things that they, you know, people are like, oh, if only I knew about Bitcoin, or if only I bought a house in the Sunshine Coast before fucking COVID or whatever. And it's like, but I think like having that mindset that like it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how flooded an industry is or how many people are doing it. Yeah. There's what's the reason why you can't be the best?
Yeah. 100%.
And I think even with the house thing, it's like, because we were going to buy like at the start of COVID and whatever, we have that story where the house would be like
Regrets.
triple the price now. But it's like, oh, well, just instead of like focusing on that and being like, oh, well, if I grew up in my parents' generation, I would have a house and all that. It's like, well, how
Yeah.
about I just like focus on making more money so I can afford the house now,
Yeah.
you know?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like if we focus too much on the past, we're not ever moving forward, really.
Yeah.
I'm a big like testament to you don't have to be any certain way to start the business. I wish I could show people who I was when I started. I was so shy, so timid. Like I watch videos back of when I first started and I'm like, oh, like, wow. Like you would not have seen a video of me and thought she is going to make it. Like it was not like that at all. But yeah, I'm sure even women look at you and think, oh, Abby, she's got all these businesses and she's
so lucky.
She's confident. Look at her on the podcast, but like they don't see like how much work it's taken and how much growth you've needed to have to get to where you are today. Like you don't have to be any which way to create success. You just have to start. Like every day you delay that, you're delaying what you want.
Yeah, definitely. And like when I think about myself 10 years ago, I remember I was living in London, very short stint there. And my dad had come to visit and his best friend had come with him. They were coming to watch the rugby and like the World Cup or whatever, and I was going along. And his friend said to me, well, what's your plan? Like, what do you want to do? And I was like, at the time I was working for a lady who owned a gym. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just want to be like that. I kind of want to just be able to go have freedom, one of my top values as well, go travel. Like this is like, 23-year-old me or 22-year-old me.
Yeah.
He said to me, do you know, I think you're like that's like you're really selling yourself short. Like you could just do that. Like, and it's so funny because now I fast forward and I'm like, I always had someone exactly like what you were saying, someone who I like looked up to and thought that's really cool that they have that. And then I just like reached that. And then I was like, okay, where are we going now? Like, what's the next step? And it's like, sometimes it's overwhelming. You look at people who are, I don't know, like I love Grace Beverly, for example. She's amazing. And I'm like, oh, that feels like so far for me to be like that. But then it's like, but why?
Yeah.
You could just, I probably could do that in 6 months, Yeah. Like, why not? It just take a lot of work.
Yeah. And you don't need to see the whole staircase. Like you just need to take the first step. Mm-hmm. And like after that step, you see the next step. You're like, okay, cool. That's where I need to go. I think people overthink it. I think they have to figure it all out. No one knows what they're doing. We're all winging it.
Exactly. Awesome. Any other tips that you would like to pass on?
I think really have the mindset of like, everything happens for a reason. Like I think if you sit and play victim for too long and, focus on shoulda, coulda, woulda, what could have happened, what happened, why that's unfair, like, you're selling yourself short. I think I'm honestly such a firm believer that through every challenge and every obstacle, no matter how hard it's been for me and how unfair it's felt, on the other side of that has just been this insane amount of growth. And looking back, like I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change what happened to me and the pain and everything I went through, because I am the person I am today because of all of it. So just know that, I guess everyone has their shit. Everyone has stuff go wrong. Like it's inevitable, especially in business and entrepreneurship. Like you cannot expect it to be smooth sailing, and you cannot expect for it to be just this linear growth to success and your goals. You have to accept that there's going to be ups and downs. You got to write it out and know that every time you take that step backwards, it's like, what's the lesson? There's a lesson here. Like, what am I going to learn? You can choose to learn or you can choose not to. But the quicker that you can adapt that mindset and go, cool, shift, pivot, what's the lesson? Let's go. Yeah, the quicker you'll get there.
Yeah, totally. And I think like when I think about anything in life, it's like, I had a really toxic relationship for a long time, and people are like, oh, if only, people are like, oh, would you do that again or whatever? And it's like, well, if I hadn't
Yeah.
of like gone through that, I wouldn't have like the be able to relate to people who've been through that, or have that empathy, or be able to have the partner I have now,
Yeah.
because maybe I would have met someone in that time that would have been like half the man that my partner is now,
Yeah.
but good enough to make me like stay. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you just never know.
Yeah.
It's like, I actually would rather have just taken all of that, taken the lesson out of that and the strength that it gave me,
Yeah.
rather than take it back.
Yes, 100%. My fiance and I talk about this all the time. I think we wouldn't have the relationship that we have now if it wasn't for what we both went through in really bad relationships. Like, it taught us so much. It taught us how to love properly and what not to accept, and to have self-love and standards for ourselves. And we've come so experienced into this, just being like, this is it. Like, we know what we don't want, and I love that. And one more tip I just want to say, action builds your belief. Like, the only way to like build your own belief is to start taking action. I think often when we procrastinate and we sit in that doubt, then we're not creating any results for ourselves to prove that we can do it. And it's this vicious cycle. I think just like take the first step and have zero expectations for the outcome. Know that like every time you do something, you're going to be a little bit more experienced, and a little bit, whatever it is. If it's going to the gym, like, just go for 10 minutes. Just get yourself in the door and go in the treadie for 10 and be like, cool, tomorrow I'm going to go to another machine, and next minute you're showing up at the gym 5 days a week for a 30-minute session, but you don't have to go all or nothing. Just take some steps.
Yeah, I think it's like interesting how our brain, like our subconscious brain, actually works and often tries to sabotage us.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that that's a really great tip, because I heard on a podcast like ages ago, and she was talking about when we say that we're going to do something and then we go around and like we tell people that we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And how it actually makes us like less likely to do it, because we've already had like the dopamine hit of
True.
people being like, oh my gosh, that's so cool that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Right? But when you are actually taking action and you're getting the dopamine hit from taking the action,
Yeah.
then your body is getting a learnt response that, cool, that felt really good to actually do it.
Just do it.
And you get your dopamine hit there, and then you repeat that muscle gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I love that. Do the work in the dark, and just show up with like a business or, your goals. Just, I love that so much.
Yeah, so good.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, is there anything that we haven't spoken about today that you'd like to touch on?
Not really. I think we've been full circle. It's been awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the potty. I really appreciate it. It's been really nice to get to know you.
Yeah, me too.
As I was saying to you earlier, you're the first person that I've interviewed who I haven't met before in real life. So it's really nice to get to know you in the flesh.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
No worries.